Welcome to Omega Times. This is Rev May. Glad to have you here today. God's been good to me. I'm sure He's been good to you also. Today we're going to be talking about something I think is important. But just before we do, I wanted to tell you two things. One, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. If you could, make a comment and share it with someone. That'll help me get this pushed out to other people. Also, I wanted to tell you that I've been having trouble editing the videos. The editing system's not working, and they're checking on it to see what was going on. I haven't heard anything back, so I can't put any graphics or any intro or anything like that in the video now. I'm sorry, but hopefully it'll be resolved real soon. Today we're going to talk about God's timing and your timing. God's timing and your timing. You and God may not ever be on the same page when it comes to timing, but God's timing's right. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "There is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every event under heaven." All right? We find in chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes, there is a time for everything under the sun. And there's a time to be born, there's a time to die, and there's a time to weep, and there's a time to laugh. You should read chapter 3 and it'll tell you all the things in life. A time to give, a time to take, time to plant, a time to harvest. It talks about all the times. God's timing is right. God's always on time, and God's always there for you, but His timing may not be your timing. And let me give you a real quick example. Say my son's an adult and has 7 children. So when he was little, or to one of my grandsons, all right, they're 5 years old and they want to go to the target range with me to learn how to shoot. I'm not going to take them to the target range when they're 4 and 5 years old and teach them about shooting. They're too young. Nor am I going to buy them a gun and give them a gun when they're a little child, all right? So they have to grow up and get to a certain age where they understand right from wrong and what's going on. Then they need to do the same thing I did with my son. He needs to take them, or I'll take them, to the gun safety course by the state of Missouri and take an 8-hour class and take a written test on the class on gun safety, and then go out to the target range and learn how to shoot from me or their father or both of us, and target practice and all this, but they're not ready at that time. Timing's not right. Nothing wrong with them wanting to go to the target range with Papa or with their dad, but at a certain age they cannot handle a weapon, nor should they, and they need to be taught that. And then they have to get to a certain age, then they have to go take safety training, which is not forcible, but I took my son to that and insisted, and we went together, and I took the class with him, and I'll do that to all my grandchildren that want to go target shoot. I mean, they're going to have to go to gun safety, take the class, pass it, and then they have to take a class from me, step-by-step directions. Why? Because they're not ready at a young age to do what they want to do. Everything you want to do. Some kid may want to drive a car when they're 13. But you can't drive till you're 15 and a half and you get a permit in our state, and you have to have a licensed driver in the car with you. When you're 16, you can go get your license. They may want to drive at 13 or 14, but they can't. Why? The timing's not right. It has to be the right timing. So if you don't have the right timing in life, you're going to constantly be making big mistakes. It tells us in chapter 3 what life is about. God's thinking's not always your timing. His timing is not tie up to what your timing may be, and it's not your timing that counts, it's what God's timing is. Let's look at something that we should do in life, and these are a few things, and I'm going to close it out. This can be a shorter video than I normally make. I'm going to try to do a few shorts and see how it goes. Before you spend, listen. Before you write, think. Before you talk to people, think about what you're going to say. Before you go out and spend money, Earn some dollars. Earn money before you spend money. Before you criticize, wait. Wait on God before you criticize people. Before you quit, try. Try to be successful. Try to do it on your own with the Lord's help. Try. Don't quit. Before you retire, save. Save for retirement. Before you die, give to others, and give them not only of money, but give them of yourself. I try to instill knowledge into my grandchildren. Knowledge that I've given their fathers and their mothers, and I've instilled in them, passing on what I learned from my parents and giving them things that money cannot buy. And so before I die, I want to give to my family and sow things into them that money cannot buy. All right? Things that they should be taught through the family about God and about doing right and about how to work hard and how to do things in life. You should pass it on. Train up a child. Can't train them up if you don't set an example and talk to them about it. Before you switch jobs, pray. All right? Pray. So you need to listen, think, earn money, wait, try, save, give, pray. Do these things before you do anything silly or stupid. All right? You don't know how many people I've had that switched jobs. Being a pastor for years, I had people come to me, I don't like working where I want to work. I want to switch jobs. I want to do this, all that. And you try to pray with them. And I told one guy, I said, is the pay bad? No, the pay's pretty good. Oh, okay. Do they have pension fund? Yeah. Is it pretty good? Yeah. I said, how's their health insurance? Yeah, it's probably the best I've had. I said, oh, okay. I said, then why are you wanting to switch? Well, I don't get along with the foreman, and there's a couple of guys I work with I don't like and all that. I said, people come and go. They may not be there forever. All right? I had a foreman didn't like me when I worked in a factory on my second job. I was working, he didn't like me. He told me he didn't like me. First day I was there. Because I got hired by another boss in the company, wanted me to work there, and he spoke up for me, and I got the job. And that offended him. And I guess he was wanting to get somebody from his church to go to work there, and the position was already filled. So he didn't like me from day one. But I just prayed, bought my time, and about a year, 15 months after I went to work in there, he kept getting into it and jumping on me unjustly. Long story short, got back to the plant superintendent. I had never spoken to the plant superintendent. The personnel manager hired me. Plant superintendent sent for me. First thing I thought is I'm getting fired, and going in that office and then going down that flight of stairs in the front office, which I'd only been in there once, and I was in the waiting room and was interviewed there by the personnel manager. I never went into the office. That was the first time I was scared to death that I was going to lose my job. And I'd done something wrong. I was trying to figure out what I did wrong. And he sat down, the essence of it, I ain't going to take a long time. He told me that he knew what was going on, knew how he was riding me, how he was treating me, and this and that. And he said he's 72 years old. He should have retired when he was 65 or 67. He wanted to stay and stay. He goes, he's retiring in 3 months. And he's no longer the foreman. As of today, he is no longer the foreman of that department. Well, we had a foreman, assistant foreman, a lead man. I was the lead man. All right? He was no longer the foreman. I said, he's assistant foreman? Nope. He said, he's not going to be in any position where he can bother you, hurt you, or anything. I said, okay, well, that's wonderful. He goes, you go on back and do your job. I just wanted to tell you I know what's going on in the factory. I keep track of it, and I found out that he's had it in from you for day one. He's ridden you, and he rabbled off a couple things he'd done to me that was very spiteful. And he said, that ain't going to happen no more, and he'll be gone in 3 months. So I went up there, and the next day, the foreman gave him to me to work for me. He was going to work for me. And I'm going to tell you, first thing ran through my head was to get even. I thought, boy, I can really put it to him. And this guy's going to get tit for tat. But then the Holy Spirit spoke to me, said, step back and be still. I kept hearing that in my spirit. So I kind of walked over to the side and kind of sit there for a second or two, and I waited for a few minutes and kind of prayed in my mind. And when he came back there, you could see on his face. And I went over to him and I said, listen, and I don't remember his name, but I called him by his last name. I didn't call him by his first name. Say it was Smith. Mr. Smith, let me tell you something. You've worked here for 44 years or 46 years. You know more about this place than I ever will. And you only got 3 months to retirement. You just help me out as you can. When you see something to do, just do it. And, I'm not going to boss you around. I'm not going to tell you to do anything. You just do what you want to do. If you don't want to do anything, I don't care. And in 3 months, you'll be retired. Enjoy your last 3 months. And I said, I'm glad that you're able to enjoy your last 3 months here. And I stuck my hand out. He reluctantly shook my hand, and I pat him on his shoulder. I said, just do what you want to do when you want to do it, and enjoy your 3 months. And I'm going to get back to work. And that's what I did. And then I felt so much better a little later, after a few minutes, about listening to the Lord and stepping back and thinking things through before I shot my mouth off. What's wrong with a lot of people is they brush their teeth with gunpowder and then they shoot their mouth off all day. And the Lord don't always want us to say what pops in our mind. If you say everything that pops in your mind, you're not going to have many friends and you're going to offend a lot of people. But sometimes before you speak, you need to listen. And that's what I ask God to do. Before you make any major moves in life, you must pray and talk to the Lord. You need to wait on God. You need to step back and think. God's timing is perfect. Your timing may not be so perfect. So learn to wait on God. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate it. If you could give me a thumbs up, if you could share the channel with someone at church or a friend or relative, if you can make a comment, I'll get back to you as quick as I can. These are things that will help me get the video pushed out where I can reach other people for the Lord. Thank you for your time. This time till next time, old Rev May signing off. And let me tell you, I'm going to try to get that editing done just as soon as I can. Thank you for being patient with me. God bless you.